What's the deal, y'all? Okay, so this is what we're working with. I just did a super quick soak off of a overlay I had on, and let's just talk about the elephant in the room is my little pinky. My little pinky got like this because I got super fucking drunk on Father's Day, and I woke up and my nail was hanging on to a fresh set I did the day before, literally by a thread. And I had to yank it off. So my pinky is out of commission until about September. So I'm so sorry. We will be putting a nice veil over her, which will be a band-aid, and we'll be leaving that alone entirely. And I'm not even gonna act like I have a pinky anymore. So we focusing just on these four. I've already banged out my non-dominant hand with the stiletto. Only thing I need to go in is seal my cuticles. And that's it. I've already applied, shaped, all that good stuff. So now I'm going to work on my dominant, or technically, whatever, my non-dominant, dominant hand. I don't know. But we're going to get into this. The Nail by John tips are my go-to when it comes down to the stiletto, just for the simple fact that they're not quite extra long, but they're longer than most, and that's what look I prefer over. Oops! Oh my gosh, well, that's what look I prefer over anything. And we're just gonna go. Gonna go ahead and apply these right quick. And once this is out the way, I'm going to prep and then come back with y'all once I'm ready to lay down acrylic. Today I went to school and I did a medium set, you would say. Filmed the whole thing, looked at the film, and I wasn't even in frame majority of the time. So we'll be scrapping that. I might still post it just because it's a pretty good video on like French tip and design as far as like nail art goes, and it's on somebody else. So I will say doing nails on somebody else versus yourself or practice fingers, you have to get out there and get in that field and work on some clients, because that is the true practice. And then we just got to do the ring finger. That's the true practice, because that's initially the goal. As we're doing all this practice on the fingers to eventually work on clients. So working on clients, I'd be so happy, and I'll be even making my little Instagram posts like, I don't care who wants their nails done for free, just so I can practice, because I'm telling you that practice is worth so much more than really trying to gain clients in the beginning, because it's almost like, it sounds crazy, it's almost like a surgeon trying to get people to do surgery on them. Like, he has to practice in the field and actually do something. You feel me? Anyway, we finna prep these out. I take my 150, 180 coarse file, blend out where the nail tip meets the natural nail part and the side walls. Ooh. When you do a soak off prior to doing nails, you do have to be a little bit more careful, because the nail is a lot more pliable and porous. So you're working with not thinner nails, but that's basically what it is. It is thinner nails than normal, because you have been soaking in chemicals basically in the entirety right before going in to apply a full set. I'm also going to be pointing these out in order to get a really pointy stiletto like so. I'm not going to say you can't, but I prefer to shapen these out first, That way, when I lay my acrylic, it's less filing down the line. You just do that by taking only the edge of your file along the tip and not really focusing the entirety. So when I say take the edge, I'm putting my thumb here, and I'm really only focusing on this portion here of the tip and just really pointing it out. And it doesn't take much for it to look entirely different, like so. And right now it's 9:30, so we're gonna see how long this set, along with some nail art on this hand, will take me. I have a few ideas. I tried to look before I started the video, but I'm just gonna freestyle something because I really want to. My end goal is to really have clients come to me and be like, just freestyle something. Here are the colors I want, do your thing. And that really does come from off the dome. It doesn't really come, I mean, yeah, obviously grab inspiration, but I want my freestyles really to be something that I just think of off rip and be like, okay, boom, this is what I've been wanting to do, this is what I've been having in my head. But I think that comes from practicing freestyle sets versus looking for inspiration. Wow, that's gonna be that. Wipe off your nail dust. And using my Young Nails Cover Pink, per usual. I only have a little bit left in here. Mia's Secret Extra Bond. This is going to be my primer and what I use to go around the nail plate. Really focusing on not getting this stuff on the skin, only on the nail plate and around the side walls. My Young Nails acrylic brush. This is some old monomer, so I'm actually just gonna sop this up, toss this out. Adding some new cotton and dousing that with my monomer. I'm gonna start with this finger just to keep it more information with how I normally would be doing nails. I'll put this right here too. So going in, making sure my brush is saturated, going in for my first bead, just like so, placing it right on there. Ooh. When I work on myself, I tend to work a little quicker, a little messier too. It's by default. It's more or less just because I'll be trying to like get this going and get on to the next portion, the next step. My monomer, keeping my brush wet, moving this product down, patting, 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 and just working it all the way down to the edge. When I want that product to move, I'll pat the top. When I want it to slide, I'll pat the sides. Getting a small bead just for the tip, because you see here didn't make it all the way. Apply it, work it down, backpedal just a tad to get that nice point. You're gonna wait for it to be cured a little bit more, drag it out to a point, kind of wait for a little minute for everything to kind of harden just a little bit. Once I feel like it's ready, take your 2 fingers, just like that. That's how I get that point, just like that. Wow. Next is going to be the cuticle area, and a really small bead place above the cuticle, get it over to the side walls, get it flush, blend, get it over to my other side wall, blend, pat it at the apex so that it'll stay there, give it a couple seconds and feather out. Get it while it's still wet, a really small bead just to get in that cuticle on this side, a really small bead to get in this cuticle on this side. Just like that. Working with the middle finger, same thing. Keep in mind, your beads do need to be different size, even though you still want it to be a big bead. If you're working with the pinky, it's going to be a small bead for the pinky, but still bigger than most. Letting gravity do the work, pointing that finger down. That's something that I learned in school. Like keeping that finger pointed downward is such a big help when working on these nails, because it'll just allow gravity to really do most of the work so you don't have to do it. Working it down, patting, catching my sides. Keeping your shape really starts from right here. Keeping your brush wet, working it down. Getting a relatively small bead, applying it right where I finished, working backwards a tad, wiping my brush off with any sticky acrylic, wetting my brush again so that I can work and mold downward. Working sidewall to sidewall. Just like that. Going back in at the cuticle. Decent size. I have no apex. That's why I'm grabbing this kind of size bead, starting right where I want my apex. Patting. You pat into the side till it meets the side wall. Once it's there, you wipe. You pat. My brush is too dry, that's why nothing's happening. You pat until you meet the side wall. Push, 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 wipe. That apex still isn't high enough yet. Another good size bead, a little bit lower, but still at the apex, not at my cuticle just yet. Wiping my side walls where I see flooding so that it won't stay there and cause lifting later. Just like that. Now that I see my apex is a little higher, I'm gonna go in with my cuticle and I'm low-key gonna build it a little. It's a little uneven, so I'm gonna place some right here. If you want the acrylic to stay where you have it, you place it, you let it dry just a tad. Once you're ready to blend it out, you put a little more. That's when you blend. You blend what you put on top. That way it fixes the indentation that you're looking to fix. All right, my cuticle isn't close enough, so now we're going to take a relatively small bead. At the apex, push it into the cuticle. All right, I kind of want more of a tip, so I'm gonna put one down, Get my brush a little wet. Wipe, wipe, move it on down to where I want it. Flatten it out a tad. Just like that. The index finger, I want to try something new. I'm going to try to grab a really big bead. Eek. Scary. Uh-oh, it's too dry. It's okay, we can fix that with just a little bit of monomer, and it should get moving. The fact that it's July 7th and some of y'all still have money to go out and buy fireworks, y'all rich. Okay? I don't care what you say. Fireworks is expensive. It's July 7th. Why the hell are we still popping fireworks, bro? Like, I've been hearing them too. It's not like, oh, here and there. Like, no. Like, once that sun went down today, Dig was outside popping fireworks. Crazy. Let it dry a bit before I move it. All right. Oh, not me. All right, cuticle bead, same thing. I don't know why I have all this lint in my acrylic. That bead was for my apex. Boom, just like that. Those are done. Moving on to this thumb. The thumb is also a big one, just how the middle finger is. So your beads should be a little bit bigger also, as opposed to the index, the ring finger, So this bead, I don't know, I think this is from my, all this lint. Ooh, sorry y'all. That's what happens when you do your own. You need to like see, and I can't see way over here. Picking up some monomer just to wet that bead up a little more so I can move it around like I need to. You can really see here how keeping your sides cleans helps keep your shape. My apex is a little wonky, but let me see. I feel like I put it in the wrong spot. That's why it's wonky. Or I could just be sleepy. I don't know. Yeah, I'll fix that with some clear acrylic because I'm making it worse. Oh my gosh, I just made it worse. Okay, it's fine though. Okay, that's my final product. What time is it? 9:50. Let's do the clear right quick and file these out. Okay, these already have the clear on. I'm gonna show how to fix something like this. Most times we see a nail that has a very big slope in it and we think, oh, let's just layer more right here at the slope. No, you want to focus the acrylic here and here to match what's going on. You have a divot. So if you apply acrylic here, you're just going to go in with your file this down to match what you've applied below. I am going to use clear for this just because I don't want to have to waste cover paint. Going with a decent sized bead. I'm going to try to apply it like this. Right below where everything starts. And this is going to be a bit of a process. Blend a little bit into the apex. I just made another little divot, but that's okay. You see how already that made a huge difference? So now, another bead of clear at this point. Feathering down, patting on top. So now you see the divot is now more right here. You can take more clear acrylic, place it right there. I like to backpedal into what I've already done, feather it out. So now you want to start feeling, getting right here. And I'm also going to put, before I go up there, I'm going to apply one more bead right here. Wipe off your brush, get some more monomer, and just pat. Pat in place, wipe just the ends, like so. You see how that's already starting to come together? So now, what you really see is the tip not having any structure. You see, just this area right here. So that, you don't need a big bead. Still, be mindful of your sizing. Place right there. Wipe your brush. Let it set. Pat. No wiping. When you're filling, you don't want to wipe because that's going to just take the product downward. Now that it's hardened a bit, feather into what you've already done. Get your point back right. Pat. Let's do the tip. Just like that. You can already see the very big difference. So for me, this is good, but I'm going to go back in right here. Because when I go and I file this down, it's still going to have a pretty big difference. So I'm going to fill that in. Can y'all see? I feel like right here, that's where I'm going to put my acrylic. Pat. And I'm actually going to feather this down in a little bit of top, but mainly downward. Just like that. Now you fixed a wonky nail. So now when you go and file, you still have your apex, you still have your slope, you still have your point. That's it. I'm going to put a little bit of clear at the cuticle. Not much though, because when I file, it'll all blend into each other, but I do want that smoothness right there. And that's that on the application. Before I finish, I'm going to wipe off my brush thoroughly. Before I do any filing, I'm covering all of my acrylics and my dampening dishes. I'm putting them away. When it comes to my brush, I need to do better with this as far as scraping all of the acrylic off and making sure that it's clear. And what I mean by that is you can see right here, that's scooped up acrylic. That's gonna harden. See, look, it came right out. You see? That's acrylic. This brush is literally, my teacher, Miss K, she literally said, your brush is like in the ER. And it really is, because you can see just all of the unevenness right there. There's like a hole. But hey, she still worked, damn it. Look, that's also acrylic. Let me get that too. I don't know what's going on with that like pocket, but okay. So now that this is what we're working with, it is 10:12, and I'm gonna file. I just did this one, so I'm not gonna work here. I like to do the little tapping noise to make sure that everybody is nice and dry. My first line for filing, first, I do see I already have some acrylic stuck to the skin. All you gotta do is really squeeze the skin away from that, and it's gonna come right up once you start filing. My file is at the nail groove. I don't start it here. Why? Because if you look, well, you can't really see, but there's more nail. So I'm here with it. And I'm keeping it as straight as I can until it meets with the side wall. After that, I'm done. I'm going in on the other side. I still have some skin here too. Look, I squeeze it, it comes right up. I go underneath. So see how I'm not even touching my nail? Because I'm trying to focus right here to get this away. I'm not even touching this up here. There's no need to be touching this. We're focusing right here. And once it gets up, then you'll come in contact with the top of the nail. So once I do my underneath, now I'm going to start working on my sides. When doing stiletto, keeping a file like this is going to cause a little bit of unevenness. So you're going to notice this small, let me see if I can show you this way. This area, my file is not touching. You see how there's a small gap? I'm focusing right here, debulking. Once this is to my satisfaction, again, look, see where my file is? It's not touching the end. Once I get that where I like it, then I make full contact and just bring it all together. Before I really go crazy on one side, I'm going to do the other just to match where I'm debulking before I finish off with my point. Focusing on my edge, keeping my file straight, bringing it to a point, just like that. Now we're going to work on the top. The top, I'm going to try to do it this way. I work at my apex first. I round everybody out. Doing your debulking first really helps you show the shape of the nail That way when you go down to where the free edge is, you already know that you secured your shape up top and you don't have much else to do up there. So you're just really blending everything into the rest. That way it matches. You can tell what you haven't filed. All this whitish, the lines, the streaking, this area right here, I haven't even touched. So turning your client's hand, making sure you're getting the entire apex, the left, the right, and the middle. Just like that. That's what that nail, I would call that satisfaction as far as having a good apex, comes down to a point. So now we just do the rest. Sometimes every nail is different as far as what needs to be worked on. It's just because application, well, at least in the beginning for me, application isn't the same across the board. So you really have to just be looking and analyzing your nails and seeing what's going on. I have a lot of acrylic right here, so we're just gonna look at all that coming up. This apex is really high. So I'm really going to focus first on the debulking of this apex because it looks a little wonky, and when it grows out in 2 weeks, it's really going to put a lot of stress on the free edge of the nail and could possibly break a lot sooner than it should. So I'll be bulking that down. You can see it's like boop, a hump. I don't really need that much of an apex. This thumb was another one that I feel like I need to have a little work on. So I'm just really going to try to focus on not having to go back and apply more acrylic. Because I already see some problems, but if I file it correctly, I should be good. Ouch! Oh my goodness. Okay, so now that that is too satisfactory, oh, 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 I cannot pick this thing up. Here we go. I'm going in with a sanding band to seal the cuticles. The point of sealing the cuticles is simply for the acrylic to be a little bit smoother and seamless in between the nail grooves, the cuticle, and both side walls. That way in 2 weeks, you don't have a really sharp ledge. Ooh, shit. That hurt. That shit hurt. That way you don't have a really big ledge of nail. And personally, it's personal preference. Everything I just showed y'all as far as filing, y'all definitely could have done with the e-file. I don't know. I just don't do it. I don't know. It's just something that I prefer. I like using my hand file. I like the feeling of control it has. The e-file, to me, sometimes just gets too hot. And I know myself. Once I get going with the e-file, I'm going crazy. And I just don't want to do that to my clients. And I don't have enough control, in my opinion, when it comes to the e-file. But a safety drill bit would have just as well been just as great to debulk the nails with, and then I could have went in with my hand file and knocked out, look at me, and knocked out the rest as far as smoothing and getting the nail flat and shaped correctly. I'm also going to be doing my non-dominant hand because I haven't done this step yet, just because I did these nails, well, technically it's been 2 days now, but I did these nails 2 days ago and didn't do this because my file was in my nail bag. Okay, good. It didn't open up. Woohoo! Okay, so bow. Now I take the cuticle oil. I take the buff. And I buff these bad boys out. When I know I'm doing nail art, well, honestly, this is just a staple. This is just what I do to the nails. I rarely ever don't put cuticle oil when I go to buff out the nails now. This is good for, it's almost like an exfoliation because it really gets those nooks and crannies that the file creates and smooths out the nail. The nail literally feels like a canvas after I do this. Do the opposite hand because I didn't actually buff these out yet. Only thing I will say, the cuticle oil does eat away at the sanding band, the buffer, so it will start to have all these like little pieces, but you do this last, so your client will wash their hands and all that messy stuff will like go away. Just like that. That is my stiletto full set. Honestly, y'all, I have work in the morning, so I'm going to bed. I'm cool with my nails looking like this for right now. So I'll come back to y'all tomorrow when we paint and do the nail art and nail designs.